Divine peace be on you and those with you. I am coming to you to discuss the question that is central to our whole existence, to ibadah, which is commonly translated as worship. However, ibadah is more than your traditional idea of worship. It also needs service. And how can we serve the Creator if we do not know who the Creator is? And so I'm going to share today a story that I hope will answer this dilemma, right? The dilemma of who are we worshiping? Because Allah says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ, which is, I did not create men and jinns except that they serve me. Okay? And, okay, cool. Let's do a little sound check. So, in the story, I could definitely go about deducing and theorizing and sharing all the things of Aqidah, right? But this isn't really about Aqidah. Aqidah is more knowledge of God that is theorized and deduced. We are looking for ma'rifah because what we often do with this verse of the Quran is actually go deeper and say, Allah did not, وَمَا خَلَقَتِ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْرِفُونِ, which is that to know on a very Gnostic and deep level, because again, we can't serve something that we don't know. So the deeper meaning or the deeper purpose behind our existence is to know Allah first and then to serve Allah. And again, this is key because we can't serve something we don't know. We can say we do, but we'll be worshiping all kinds of things or worshiping nothing. Ultimately, even worship of quote unquote nothing is something, and we'll hopefully get to that. But I thought about this for a few reasons. I do have my own early examples of what Allah is, and this is really important. Like a lot of us do form our ideas of Allah based on our early upbringing and ideas. So there's the Aqidah route, okay, which is one extreme, just focusing on the previous scholars who are also worth knowing and understanding, and this is important and required as well. Anything we imagine Allah to be, Allah is beyond that. So this is a key principle as we go on. Anything we imagine Allah to be, Allah is beyond that. Another key principle is from Surah Ashura 11, the consultation, I believe, or maybe it's the poets, I always get them confused. But basically in this verse, it's very well known as talking about Laysa kamithlihi shay, which is there's nothing like Allah. But then right after that it says وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ, which is the all-hearing and the all-seeing, which are known to be shared attributes, right? Like attributes, not the Creator, but we don't. There's no sharing with the Creator, but the attributes are shared in that there are many things that see and hear. Okay, and this is how we come to know Allah, is through the creation. Man arafa nafsu faqad arafa rabbuhu. The one who knows themselves knows their Lord. And this is again more of like a text aqidah based thing. But then we can go to another extreme and we look at our upbringing. And so, for instance, I have a relative, a guardian, who told me that as a child that she was in awe because she remembered hearing the verse of how not a leaf falls, but Allah knows it. So it's like a puzzle. We get bits and pieces here and there to get a bigger picture of who is this almighty source. And even in the name, linguistically, there are hints. When we say Allah, either way, we're saying the same thing backwards or forward. So, I think it's important to have a personal connection as a child. For instance, for me, I remember hearing that Allah loves you, and Allah loves you so much. And coming from someone that I love and care for, that it meant a connection. It was a personal connection there. But we can't rely on that the same way we can't rely on these theories and these deductions, like in a lot of these seminary spaces. They're both important, but we can't rely on it either. We need to combine the two. And then actually have practical examples that even a 3-year-old would understand. So I'll get to that very soon. But Allah is eternal with no beginning, everlasting with no end. This is another thing that we are given as a basis for understanding, because it's very easy to do this thing called tashbih. Everybody talks about tashbih, comparing the creator to the creation, which is inevitable, but it's within boundary, okay? Again, going back to what Ibn Arabi said about how, in that verse of Al-Ashra 11, people always talk about how the creator, there's nothing like Allah, who is the all-seeing, means the all-hearing, all-seeing. Seeing and hearing are attributes that are shared. But the story starts with now this generation. So I gave an example of an earlier generation. I gave an example of my own experience as a child, hearing that Allah loves me, and Allah loves everyone. Allah loves, and like with my own sister, I remember one time it got dark, the clouds went over the sun, and she says, "Allah, can you turn the lights back on?" So this is Allah. This is an example of having an imminent and intimate perception of Allah. But Allah is not only imminent, Allah is transcendent. Anyways, this is a lot. Of course, I didn't say any of this to a toddler. What happens is two things at my toddler's new school. They have a love notes box, which I really love and appreciate. Every day parents can put a note, and then the children get read the notes together, love notes. And they also have this thing called a mystery box. So every week a kid gets chosen to take home this lunch box. It's a really old, big, beat up lunch box with a bunch of question marks on it. And the day that my kid complained, like, hey, or he didn't complain, but he mentioned it, he talked about it, I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, but I didn't get a turn yet, and I want to take the mystery box home. And he already knew what he wanted to bring. He wanted to bring his new car, whatever. It's not whatever though, because that day, in the love notes box, I put, your turn will come. And whether it's because the teachers read that to him or they got the hint, that day was the day that he got to take the mystery box home. And the way the mystery box works is, the kid picks something to bring to the school. Basically, it's similar to show and tell, where they pick an object to put in the lunchbox, and then the parent puts 3 hints, and the classmates have to guess what is in the mystery box. So they can't see it, they can't hear it. Okay, you kind of catching where I'm going here, but they have several hints before they can, so they can guess before the mystery inside the box is revealed. Okay, it's a cube-shaped box. Interestingly enough, a cube-shaped lunchbox, beat up cube-shaped lunchbox. So that day that I wrote the note to him, his turn will come. Then his turn did come. He took the lunchbox home, and it went fine. He asked me later. He asked, what are those marks on the box that had question marks? And I told him that what it was. And then later on, maybe the next day, he randomly asked me after school, is Allah a question mark? And I said, so he's trying to piece this together. He really wants to know who Allah, he calls it Allah, is. His L's are slurred. So he said, and I said, Allah is not a question mark. Allah created question marks, and he created everything. And he says, well, is Allah a person? And I said, Allah created people. And he says, who is Allah? He's like getting frustrated. He wants to know some real deal stuff, like, give me the 101, give me the 411. And so I point to this light up on the ceiling, and I say, Allah is the creator of the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Just like the light up there, in the light, there is an niche. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light, just like the light in there. And he's just like, okay. And then later on, he's taking his bath, and I just said arm, leg, arm, head. And he's like, and I said arm, leg, arm, head. And he copied me. He said arm, leg, arm, head, and that was it. And it's really just planting seeds, because this is not the first time the conversation has come up. and hopefully it will not be the last. And we'll see how it lands. But at the end of the day, that is to me the way that I would start to explain it to a child. I would not give explicit comparisons, just like anything. Like the light, though, is what Allah is. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. And the list goes on. But that connection has to be made independently. So for him to ask that, for him to say, is Allah a question mark, is a positive thing. I don't think every question needs to be closed as in a business deal or a transaction. It is healthy to have some open-ended curiosity, something left to be wanting, to search for, to seek, and to find. Because what is the alternative? I just give textbook answers, I just give, and then I rob him of that joy of discovery. Okay? That joy of experiential knowledge, again going back to ma'rifah, not just ilm, but ma'rifah, to know himself. Okay, that's where it starts. So once we know ourselves, then we will know our Creator. And again, there's nothing like Allah, but this is our basis. This is like the grounding for everything when we know ourselves. How do we know ourselves? Some people go very based on experiential, based on their family and their roots. And some people go based on aqidah. We need both. Like going off of theory and deduction and previous scholars' works and texts. We have to be able to use the two in tandem to develop this furqan and this discernment. But it's a conversation to be continued. And piggybacking on last conversation yesterday, there was one clarification I also wanted to add. It's escaping me now. But I will say that we're coming to an end with these daily lives. And as we do, I would love your input. What would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of? I'm listening because at the end of the day, I'm at your service. And I hope to continue to touch bases, just not as frequently. But the challenge was to go 100 days. And alhamdulillah, I don't know how, but we're almost there. It's almost been 100 days together. So thank you for listening, dear viewer, and being a part of this journey. And I want your input to be in the closing. So definitely do share your thoughts, questions, concerns, anything of that nature. And until next time, please take care. Assalam.